Right, so I'm rather hoping I'm live again. I'm just going to check and see. I'm going to go back on my Facebook page and go back to Lizzie's sewing room and just have a little look-see to see if I'm live again. I'm going to explain why. Let's have a look. That was live. Here we go. Not sure. It's frozen, isn't it? I bet you can hear me, but you can't see me. I don't know. I think, well, you say I'm back, but I can't get the screen to move. No. Yes. I don't know quite what's happened. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's see. Let's see if I can start again. Just bear with. Just bear with. If I can switch on the cameras. Let's right, we're getting there, we're getting there. Now, it's possible that I'm back with you again. Now, you may have heard me twittering in the background. We'll have a little look-see, see if I'm coming up on your screen and see what happens. I've got black screen at the moment. Let's have a look. Can hear you but frozen. Yes, you need to be thawed. That's a fact. Oh, here we go. I think I'm back. Tell me if I'm back, please, folks. Now, Abigail, if you join, Abigail, if you join, can you tell Grandma to stop ringing me on my phone? All is good, thank you. So I'll tell you what happened. My mum phoned me. Now, it's possible she might phone again. But I didn't tell her that I was doing a Facebook Live. And although I invite her always to the Facebook Lives for the Gold Members Room, she forgets. And unfortunately, she cuts me off. She cuts me off if she phones. So I could do with Abigail telling my mother, her grandma. I wonder if I can write Abigail in the comments and see if that tags her. I will try. Now, if anybody sees Abigail join, let me know. Because she needs to text her grandma to say stop ringing me. Right, I'll shut up about that now. Sorry about that, but I had to reconfigure everything because although I had the volume, I didn't have the cameras, so we had to reconfigure them again. So I do apologise. We haven't had a very good start, have we? First of all, we were mute, and then you lost me, and then you got the sound, and then we're sorted. So right, I've lost my train of thought now. Oh yes, we're talking about Diana in the library. Yes, you mustn't make her laugh. It's her own fault most of the time because, you know, she's that sort of gal that she gets people laughing, which, you know, sometimes is not appropriate. Anyway, I was just looking for my free motion foot and I can't see it. Well, I've got one, but that'll have to do. Right. Dinky Dwellings. Aren't they fab? And I didn't let you down, and I got you, oh, it looks like I'm frozen again on there. So I got you 10 different ideas. Well, actually, I repeated one or two. So you've got 10 ideas of what you can do with a dinky dwelling. And actually, I haven't seen this. I don't think I have, unless I've missed it. But I haven't seen the second option. So this one, this being the second option. So I'll hold it up there so you can see. So I haven't seen anybody make that option yet. So I had that sort of prepped and ready to go in case we've got time to do it. We'll just keep an eye on if Abigail joins again, because she can text Grandma. I'm just making sure. Right. So, Dinky Dwellings. Right, so you should, obviously you're going to cut all your pieces out. Now I know some of the writing on these pieces is small, and I'm going to switch to this camera so we can, I'm going to try and see if I can sort of get in there. Now I might wriggle around a little bit, so you'll have to bear with. But this is a better option than the overhead, I think. Here we go, that's good, that is excellent. Let's do it that way. So you've got the main roof here. You've got the main roof here, the main house here, and then you've got the roof shape. Now the idea of the roof is that it can be tilted like this, or obviously it can be straight, but the idea is that they're sort of like little fairy houses and things like that. So they're kind of quirky. So I've been putting all of mine on the sort of angle like this. But the first thing you need to do is put the door and the windows in to make sure that they fit in that space. So that's the first thing we would do. So you need obviously the roof and the main house. You don't need those for the back in this technique that I'm going to show you. You obviously then need a door, which obviously fits just there. A couple of windows. I've only cut out one because quite honestly you only need one really. Now with the chimneys, you've got one piece like this, and you've got it written that's bottom and top. So that bottom part there is what is on the main part of the roof, I suppose, and that's further up. I ought to get a little house to show you. And then this little tiny piece there, that's cut on the fold, and let's do it that way round. Yeah, is it that way? Is it that way? Is it the other way? Oh, I'm going to have a look now. I wonder if I've done that. I wonder if it should go like that. I think that fold should be up here actually. So you'll have to perhaps, we'll change that. I'll change that on the pattern. But there's always one thing, isn't there? So the fold should be up here. I'll get one of the little dinky houses to just show you. Hold on, bear with. Here we go. So there's the little dinky house there. And you can see that it's got a loop. So that sort of fat bit there makes the loop really, that you can hang it as bunting, hang it on a key charm. You know, it's got the ability there to be hung, but also one of you gals, I can't remember who, put some ribbon in here as well. So that's an option for you to sort of do yourself, isn't it? But that's sort of the main thing really. So what we're going to do is we'll cut these pieces out. I deliberately didn't do that to start off with. I just want to see if Abigail's joined yet. Mary got her new sewing machine today. Now, my mum had hers delivered today, thank goodness, because we're doing another workshop tomorrow. And she wants to take her new sewing machine with her. So she's been trialling it out today. Perhaps that's why she's sort of phoned me, because she wants to tell me all about the sewing machine. Hopefully it's gone okay. Now I like to use a little bit of stick and spray on the back of my pieces of pattern really. You don't have to do this. I just happen to, obviously, it's stick and spray, isn't it? I just obviously happen to have this product. You could use like sort of regular paper glue if you want, because literally you're just sticking it down and then taking it off again, so it's going to be slightly tacky. I won't bother with those two little tiny bits for the chimney, that would be too crazy. So, in actual fact, I'm going to use tweed. So I thought, I can't remember why I wanted the pink now. It'll come to me. It might have been for the roof, but anyway. So the main of the house, I wanted the pink tweed like this. So that's the main part of the house. So we'll pop that on there, and I don't want to be wasteful with this. Tweed is such a lovely fabric to use. It really is. Now, you can pin this if you want to, but if you haven't used the spray, then by all means pin it, or use your quilting clips if it's possible. whichever's best for you. Come on, it's whatever's best for you. So there's a little scrap there, and there's one of my pieces. And then we want the roof, and I wanted the roof in this. Now, did I want the stripe? Oh no, the stripe's going to be the door. I've got this piece for the roof. Okay, so we're going to stick that down. And because I put it sort of wonky on the house, don't worry if it's stripy or checked. Don't worry about lining it all up, because it's going to add to the quirkiness. I mean, originally these were going to be quirky houses. I was going to call them quirky houses. But then I thought, well, that kind of, it gives them a title that isn't always appropriate, because if you made these as beach huts, they wouldn't necessarily be looked at as quirky, would they? Do you know what I'm saying? So there's the body of the house, and there's the roof. So the roof can go sort of quirky like that, look. I think that's quite nice. And what we'll do is, what I recommend is you get a little bit of, I've got textile glue here, and just put a few little dobs on. Now, because that's tweed, that'll soak in a little bit, which is fine. But I just want to make sure I get my windows and doors on here, so I'll just pop those on just to make sure, as a little sort of guide. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. I'll leave it at that. And I'll just push that down so it glues together while I'm just cutting these pieces out. So we want the door. Now I wanted the stripe. So that's going to go, well, we could have that pink going right up the middle, I think. No, that's it. And it's going to be interesting to see what this is going to look like in tweed, actually. It should stitch absolutely the same as if you're using cotton. But I thought it'd be interesting to use a different sort of fabric and see how it looked. I think one of the girls, now it says I'm interrupted, so let's just see if that's gonna spoil things again for us. Oh, I think we're okay. We'll see. I'll keep going and see how we get on. Okay, so there's the door cut, and I popped that. Let me show you. I've popped that on the house. And it's also a good idea, and this is just for speed really, and it keeps everything in its place. I'll just put a little dab of glue on there as well. You don't have to do this. This is just me. It keeps everything in place. If you want to put like heat and bond on the back of your pieces, do that. So the next thing we're going to do is cut out the windows. Oh, I think that's what I wanted the pink for. I'm not sure that they might just disappear. Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm going to do then. I've got this dark, really dark, well, it's purple really, isn't it? You perhaps can't, you're seeing it perhaps as black, but I'm going to do the windows in this sort of purple, and I'm going to have this as the back of the house, but actually I think it will look better on the lighter fabric, and I mean I'm using felt. I'm using tweed all over. But you could use felt, that's what I was going to say. So there's one piece. There we go. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's one of those situations, or if I had masses of time, I would try a few things out. Actually, I wonder if I was going to use the blue. I might cut one out in the blue felt, which is going to be part of the chimney. And see what that looks like. And this is the great thing, although I'm using fairly big pieces, really these are all scrap busters, aren't they? So I think you've got to be careful also that it doesn't look like two eyes. It would be too easy for that to look like eyes. So let's have a look. If I hold that up, it's not too bad. I'm going to cut a window out in blue, see what it looks like, and then you can tell me. Let's have a look, make sure we're okay. Yeah, I think we are. So, I'm sorry for that interruption just before. We were going really well. I expect Mum's really excited about her sewing machine. She's got a new Benina. Oh, I think I like the blue better. Yeah, so she's got a new Benina. It should have been delivered yesterday, but the lorry broke down. Can you believe it? She had a time slot of 4 o'clock, and she got a message just after 4 to say that the lorry had broken down and it wouldn't be delivered. And it's like, you know, when you're really excited and you're waiting for something, and then you get that disappointment, don't you, of somebody saying, I'm sorry, you can't have it, whatever it is, whether it's a new sewing machine or a holiday or whatever it is. Now, what do you reckon? That's a bit better, isn't it? Time we've put our stitch on. And again, I'll be doing this all in gold, only because I'm just my favourite thing at the moment. And don't do it too near the edge. I'm going to turn it around so I can see it. That's it. That's cool. I quite like that. So then we've got the little chimney, and I've got this dark sort of, it's like a maroon coloured felt. So we need one piece of the piece that says top and bottom. There we go. And it's okay to hold this, isn't it, with your thumb, and I just cut round that. Just pop that over there. So that's the chimney, and again we're just going to, yeah, just making sure that that's right. In fact, I think I've got these both back to front. I wonder if I had it and then reversed it somehow. Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, we can sort it out as we go along. But the idea is, and this is why I always do something like that, so you can see how everything should where it should be positioned. So you'll get the drift, hopefully. So with the little piece, I want to cut that on the fold. And the fold is going to go along the long part of that, and it's just going to tuck underneath my chimney. So here we go. Make sure I get that the right way around. There we go. There we are. That's better. And if you wanted to, cut this a little bit bigger, because this is going to be the hanger, you know, the loop that you're going to hang from the tree, or your keyring, as I said before, and all those suggestions that I had. I was on a roll, wasn't I? Yep, I did really well to come up with those. So a little bit of glue between the two little end pieces. I'm just going to squidge those together, and it'll all hold, and that all helps to strengthen everything. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this underneath the chimney. And so I'm just going to refer to my chimney here, just to make sure that I've got it where I want it to go. And don't forget, again, this has got to be, you know, it's got to be on an angle. It's a little bit quirky. So it adds to the sort of the fun of how it looks. And let me just move that down even more. There we go. I'm happy with that now. So look, that's how that's looking now. And it's all kind of glued together. So hopefully you can see that. I'll just bring it up a bit closer so you can see what that looks like. And that's all tweed, and I'm really quite pleased with how that's working. I think the blue windows look better. The other ones I think were a bit dark. So let's get all the pieces out of the way. So I've got a little bit of room on my table. It gets quite squashed with stuff. And don't forget, we're going to use that dark purple for the back, although I might use the the dark purple. I'll stick with the dark purple. Okay, that's good. So Diana says, once you have the sticky spray on the pattern, do you save the pieces on wax paper? No, to be honest, Diana, those pieces will stay tacky for a little while, because I sometimes do this with paper pattern pieces, is to use my stick and spray. But I mean, yes, you could put them onto wax paper, of course you can. But actual fact, with this stuff, because it's a temporary glue, it although it remains tacky, it doesn't actually permanently bond them together. So it's actually a great glue. And then you must have an equivalent in the States. I know there's also, we have a brand called 505, so you might have that in the States. I'm not sure, but a temporary fabric adhesive is brilliant for this sort of thing. So The other thing, I'm just tidying my space because I'm going to bring my machine up in a second, and I've got lots of bits to make the wreath with, so hopefully we're going to get that far and I can show you how I put the wreath together, and I'll tell you, on the pattern I do tell you what you need to get. I used a 12-inch ring like this, so that's what I started off with, and obviously by the time we've finished and I made half a dozen houses. It was just enough to fill it with a bow and all bits and bobs, but I've got everything, so hopefully we will do that because these houses really don't take very long. So I'll just bring up the machine, and I've got the big one today, so there we go, and I'll bring my camera in so you can see, and I'm just having a quick look because I need my other free motion foot. I've got one, but it's not, you can't see through it. So I'll just get my other one. So what I've got to remember, guys, is that I'm going to this workshop tomorrow, and I need to take this foot, but not this machine. I'm going to take the other machine. This machine is really a bit too heavy to carry. So I'm going to put this other camera on so you can see a different angle because it's much better, and then you can see the stitching. But what I've got here, so I've got my piece of tearaway stabiliser. Now, this is like it's by Madeira. It's a cotton stabiliser. I can give you. Let me show you the box. Let me hold on. You get quite a lot. I mean, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but you get quite a lot, and it's tearaway cotton soft. Okay, make it a bit tidier for you, but that's what I get, that's what I buy, the Madeira tearaway cotton soft. So you may be able to find that. It doesn't have the American flag on the back, but then, actually no it does actually. It has it in English obviously, but it has half the Union flag and also half the Stars and Stripes. So we should be okay with that. But you only need a little piece, just enough to pop your house over the top, and then you can start stitching it. If you do it without the stabiliser, you can obviously bury your fabric into your machine, which is just annoying at the best of times. So I've got a little, you can see, I've just got this little stand here. I'll just bring it up so you can see, and that helps with metallic threads. And always use it, but I thought it was a good thing to show you that you could use something like that, and especially if you're using a cone as well of you know, big cone of gold thread, that sort of thing. It's got stuck somewhere. Well, of course it will get stuck. It's one of those days, isn't it, when everything gets stuck. Let's take that out. Yes, so something like that, it doesn't cost very much money. It's quite good for putting the threads on, and it stops them from getting tangled. And I think this was tangled before I put it on. So there we go, we got it now. So yeah, so there we are. So that helps. So I'll put that back on there again. We'll put it in the middle one. That should be better. And I've got a little catch at the top of my machine that I can just catch my threads. And to be honest, you want it so it's not going to catch on anything here, because obviously I've got a handle here and it might catch on that. So you need it positioned correctly to allow the thread to you know, move nicely through the machine. And there we go. And you could just adjust your tensions and things. We've talked about metallic threads before, and Diana wrote a super duper sort of guide, if you like, as to how you can adjust your machine and all that sort of thing, and needles and all that sort of thing. And I've got it. I've actually done it. I hope you don't mind, Diana, but I did a screenshot of it, and I can post that tomorrow if you like, so you can all see that. So let's just move that up a little bit. I think that's all stuck rather well. Yes. Oh, that's a bit like that. Why not? Okay. So oh, Abigail, well done. Phew, yes. WhatsApp Grandma and tell her not to call me. Brilliant, thanks. Right, so I've dropped my feed dogs. I've got my embroidery foot on, or darning foot. I haven't adjusted anything else, and so we're just going to stitch. Now I'm going to use this camera here, but I'm going to bring it in quite close. I'm going to put that there so I can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to show you. Let's bring it down, and hopefully you'll see it fairly well. Let's try and do that. Let's move that down a little bit more. Oh, that's better. There we go. Now that's not bad, is it? That's not bad. I'm quite fairly happy with that. So this is loose on there. I haven't actually attached it, but what it's going to do, it's just going to not stabilize the fabric, but it's just going to give me a background in as much that this, so everything I stitch now won't go down the machine, the hole in the machine. So when you're, I mean, to be honest, I could use my straight foot here. So let's do that, because it helps. I'm going to take my embroidery foot off and put my 1/4 inch foot on. Now with the Bernina, they just sort of slip in and hook on. They are peculiar machines in that respect. And so I've just tagged that in now. Okay, so hopefully you can see. Just want to make sure you can see okay. So look, I'm going to start here. So I'm going to start just at the corner of the house, just here. And I'm just going to do 3 rows. So every time I do something, it's 3 rows. So I'm bringing my feed dogs up, because obviously I want to just do regular stitch at the minute. And just if your threads do get caught, just get them out of the way, because they'll go loopy, bird's nesty. So we're just going to do a straight stitch along there, like I say, 3 times. Because that gives you the density, if you like, of the gold work, and your gold stands out a lot better when you do 3 rows. Some people do 2, but I like to do 3, so it's up to you whether you do the same as me or not. So there we are. So it's just a case now of taking it out of the machine, breaking the threads, and I'm going to put the embroidery foot on now. Okay, so it's just a case of releasing that foot and putting that foot on. I wonder if my mum will join now that she knows. Oh, she's messaged the family group chat. That's good. Marvellous. Thank you, Abigail. So look, we've stitched across here and here, so we've got 3 rows of stitching. Now, you can do the chimney next. That's what I've been doing. I'll do the chimney next, or the windows or the door. It's entirely up to you, but if we start with the chimney, okay? And now I've got my free motion foot on, my darning foot, my embroidery foot. Drop the feed dogs. Don't be too frightened about this. If you want to use your regular foot, do. And I'm not one to tell you what to do. So here we go. We're going to just free motion our way up the top of the chimney, across all those layers of felt, and we'll see if we can catch them in as we go. Oh, this is where I need my stiletto. Now, I bet you anything you like, it's tucked away somewhere else. And just if you carry on across that chimney, then it'll catch the other piece, and it kind of nests it in, and secures it really well. So, oh gosh, here we go. So again, like I say, free motion. So I'm just going to, now I've secured it, I'm just going to do my 3 rows around. It's not liking going all over these layers. We'll persevere. So 3 times around, so you can see that gold work. Try and keep my hands out of the way. And then what you could do is like some faux brick work. I've done a few different designs, and we'll have a look at them. And so I'm doing some faux brick work here. So I'm just coming up, and then I'll go up and down, across, and just sort of look like it's a chimney. But you can do this, you can put flowers on it if you want to. So that's secured that little loop in place. You can see that's quite well secure in there now. So all I'm going to do is lift up my foot, and I'm just going to shove that across. Now don't worry about cutting your threads off. It's you know, come on, we're just making a little pretty little house. So again, I'll just cut my thread so it's out of the way and underneath there as well. Just get that nice and sorted. And then of course we're still doing our free motion. So I'm got to be careful that you don't catch the fabric. We'll just cut that piece of thread as we come round. And that's it, keep your work nice and tidy. So hopefully you can see. Try and get in there a little bit more. So yeah, so free motion. So be aware that you might go a bit wriggly. You know, it's that's what it's meant to be like. That's the part of the character of it. And if your windows end up a bit wonky, then so be it. Don't worry about it. And then what we'll do is we'll just do sort of regular window sort of shapes. Let's just get that bit down. So I'm just going to come up and back and up again and down halfway, across, 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 across. Sounds like a dance move, doesn't it? Lift my needle out, lift my foot up and just hop over to the other side. And again we'll just start to free motion again. And like I say, if you do catch the corners, if you like, as you're coming round, then just stop and readjust and all of that, and just keep your eye on things, and just literally have some fun. You don't have to go mad. To be honest, if you like doing the free motion, this is the best bit for sure, because you're having a bit of playtime. I think that's what Mum and I are doing tomorrow, a little bit of playtime. Oh, Tricia says she's had a phone call too. Oh no, it's just one of those days, isn't it? It's always, we get them, don't we? So look, I've just hopped across again. So now I'm going to do the door, so hopefully you can see okay. And I'm just literally just going around that door. And because I've glued it in place, and I'm going to move this because it's a little bit more comfortable for me. Because I've glued it, it really is fine to sort of, it's a really quirky door, it's been moved a little bit. It holds everything in place, and this, like I say, this is where it's caught. Do you see how the foot is caught in the tweed? Because tweed is such a loose weave. This is where you're really going to have fun, and possibly that first time around, that's the one you've got to watch, and then after that. It becomes easier, and you'll whiz around and have some real fun with this. So my door is a little bit wonky, but I'm not too fussed. I'm not too worried. And I think that's half the charm of it, really. So I don't know how many times I've gone round now. So I think what I'll do is I'll go across the top of my door to give it like a window light at the top. So three or four times, just so that gold stands out, and then up, and then I think I might go across again. So I'm enjoying it, you know. It's just this is my thing. It really is. So there we go. And what I do need is a doorknob. So I'm just going to go down a little way. I'm just going to jump across, and then I'm just going to go round and round on the circle, you know, on the spot, until I know that gold is going to stand out. And look something decent. So we'll just cut that off. There we go. I have got a bit of a wonky door, I have to say. It's a little bit out of peculiarness, but that is supposed to be. That's the sort of effect we want. Look, you can see it. We've got a banana door going on. That's a bit of a thread. Let me just cut that thread off. Oh, I can just pull it. There we go. So anyway. So now we've got to stitch the back onto the front. I mean, and then it's almost done, isn't it? Which is great. So we'll just come back to this one here. So this is the point where, and I'm going to just swap my foot over. I'll leave my machine here for a bit. Keep the gold thread in, because we're going to stitch all the way around now. So this is the time when you need to tear this stabiliser away. Now, don't be too frightened about that. It's a nice, if you use this or any tearaway, it's usually nice and soft. And you can see how it tears away. If you can't get any of this out of the middle, don't worry about that, because it's, you know, when you buy a sweatshirt that's had embroidery done, you'll see this in the inside, and sometimes they don't tear enough away, and it doesn't spoil the design. It's no problem at all. In fact, one of the little houses, I turned it and was going to stuff it, and I realised that I still had all the tearaway on the back, but I couldn't tell you now which one it is, so it's no bother. So here we go. Oh, Diana says the needle should be appropriate for the thread. Yeah, she's quite right. Now, have we frozen or are we okay? Let's have a look. Let's just check the Facebook. This is annoying tonight, isn't it? Because I keep freezing all the time. So let's go back and see if we're still frozen or whether we're okay. Let's have a look. All is good. Oh, that's from before. Right. Let's just see. There we go. No special needle. No, you don't need a special needle. I mean, I don't know if I'm still live because I can't. It looks frozen on my screen here. No, you don't need a special needle. I mean, you can use a metallic thread. You absolutely can, but it's not totally essential. I'm mumbling and bumbling because I just want to make sure that we're okay. I think we're fine. Yeah, I think we're fine. So yes, you can get a metallic needle. It has a bigger eye and it's not so sharp on the metallic thread going through. I've got a little gadget on my machine here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. There we go. It's here. And it's a little stick-on gadget, and I actually can drop silicone into that. It's like there's a little foam pad in there. Benina does it, but it's just a stick-on pad. It would actually work with anybody's machine. And you can drop silicone in and pop your thread in the groove of this little pad, and that helps because that silicone then smooths out the thread and helps it go through the tension discs. I found that really good. This thread that I use is from Somac, S-O-M-A-C. It's, well, according to my mum, she had a look at it last week. It's a Japanese gold thread. And because it's Japanese, it's absolutely top quality. Now, I didn't know that. I had it recommended to me. But it is a great thread. I never have any problems at all using this gold thread or any of the metallics, to be perfectly honest. So we've made our little house. It's a little bit, you know, could do with a rambling rose going on top of it. Anyway, so what we need to do now is to actually put this onto our scrap piece of fabric. It's going to be the backing. Now, if you've got fabric that's got a right side and a wrong side, you want to put the two wrong sides together. And it kind of goes against the grain a little bit because we're not used to doing that, are we? So all I'm going to do is get my scissors and cut a piece off. And it seems very wasteful. And if you want to, what I would suggest you do, because I would suggest you do the roof at different slants and you don't have to have it perfectly aligned. It means that I couldn't have done a pattern for it because it's going to be personal to you of how you put the house together. So you could, if you wanted to, now draw around that and get the perfect shape, okay? But I found it easier just to pop it on a piece of scrap and then just stitch all the way around with the scrap behind. So that's what we're going to do now. Now, you start, and just get this camera in again. Let's try and get this lined up. Let's see if I'll get this lined up before we go live to it. Here we go. So we start at this corner here, and we're going to go all the way around the house down to here, and this is where we leave it open. And because this is all raw edge stitching, it's great. It means that you don't have to worry about turning through and things like that. I mean, if you wanted to, of course you can turn through, but obviously the house will be a little bit smaller because you're going to take 1/4 of an inch off. Or, of course, you could enlarge the whole pattern and do it that way and make it a neater edge. Right, so when you come up to the chimney, when I got to this part, I folded this chimney over. So let me swivel that so you can see. So when I get to here, right here, obviously I'm going to stitch across the top of the roof and this little bit here. And actually what I do is move that right out of the way. And when I do that, you can see, I can see that line of tweed there, and that's what I'm going to stitch. And it keeps this little bit loose. So it's a good tip. It's not the end of the world if you do stitch it down, but you just get a smaller loop. So you just got to bear that in mind as you're stitching it, that you either want that loop there or you don't. That's entirely up to you, isn't it? The look that you want to create. So again, all I'm doing is stitching down the size. Now the same rules apply in as much that, let me put my needle down, is that I'm now going to just swivel it around and come back up and just go round again. So because we want that gold to stand out, that's why I do the 3 rows of stitching. And it's nice with the ordinary foot, my 1/4 inch foot on here, because it's easy to stitch. It's easier than the free motion if that's not your thing. I mean, I don't mind doing the free motion, obviously. But it's down to you guys as to how comfortable you are with doing free motion. And the other thing is, of course, it makes it really strong by doing the 3 rows of stitching. It really makes it a strong seam. It's because we're stitching really close to the edge of the fabric. And if you were just to stitch 1 seam, that would come undone in a flash. So 3 seams really strengthens. I'm getting my chimney pot out of the way. So it really strengthens the whole piece. And like I said, and I'll show you in a second, it really makes the gold stand out. But I mean, if you were to make these into like fairy houses or snowy houses, then you could stitch with silver, couldn't you? So yeah, there's lots of different things that you can do. So let's take this camera away. We'll go up here. So I've gone all the way round. Oh, well, I did cut the threads. I'm thinking, oh, that was already cut. So that's what it looks like. And I'll show you the back. Now the back, I've just used regular bobbin thread because I'll show you. Okay. So if you wanted to make sure that it all colour coordinates, obviously you're going to put purple or black or something or dark grey into your bobbin. But I'm just demonstrating, so you'll be able to see how that works. So let me just adjust my screen here. Yes, so it's entirely up to you how you finish that off and what that looks like on the back. Because one of the suggestions I gave you was that you could actually make it double-sided. So you could make 2 houses. You'd have to think about the positioning of the roof again. But you could make 2 houses and stick them back to back so they're both the same, both sides. And I think that would be... Actually, I mean, to be honest with you, it might be a bit of a challenge because the roof has got to be absolutely perfect. But there's no reason why you can't give it a go. Okay, so look, now I've trimmed my piece to fit. So now I've got my little quirky house, and that was what the back looks like. And to be honest, I think I'd like to have this as a key charm on my bag. It's quite big, but that's okay. Now, if I show you the stitching on this angle here, you'll be able to see how well that gold stands out. Because we've done the 3 rows, it really does stand out, made it really strong. And I quite like the tweed and the felt together, that looks really nice. And of course, once we stuff it, it's going to be a little bit smaller, basically. Now I'm going to use my machine again, so I don't want to put it down on the floor just yet. But we're going to do this little piece of stuffing. I think we'll just leave that there. Just give myself a bit of space. But also, I need my forceps. And they've gone walkabout. Let's have a look, see if I can find them. They're bright pink. You'd think I wouldn't be able to lose anything. Sorry, guys. Oh, man. always the way, isn't it? It's always the way. I don't think I've got another set handy. So oh, I've got a fork there, that won't do. Right, okay, typical. They're here somewhere. Let me have another little look. Just bear with. Just bear with. They didn't fall on the floor, did they? No. Let's have a look. Sorry guys. Typical. Typical. So you're going to stuff it. Now I always use this cotton waste. It's hooked, Hooked. I think it's Dutch, and it's fabulous because it's all cotton waste. It's recycled fibres basically, and it's a lovely soft, washable. It's just a super quality. You could use other things. It's entirely up to you. Use your scraps. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But I just happen to love this. It feels nice, and it's a little bit more substantial. You know, when you're stuffing something, it really is super duper. And I was introduced to it a couple of years ago, and I honestly stocked up. I've got a few bags in my cupboard just in case we have a shortage of cotton stuffing. And of course you can soak essential oils into this, so if you didn't want to put actual lavender in your little house, you could use an essential oil with this. So it's perfectly fine, and it really does maintain its integrity, if you like. So I don't want to overstuff this, but I'll just the hemostats, or the what are they called? Forceps. You can get it right into the corners of the roof. So I think that'll do. Otherwise we'll go on and on and on. So look, once you've stuffed it to your satisfaction, I mean, you might want to have these really stuffed. Just push that wadding out of the way. So you're pushing it down because you want to close that off, and you want to stitch across the bottom there, which is what we'll do now. And so you want to make sure that your foot can get far enough into your house. And again, even though we've gone across that door 3 times, I'm still going to go across this 3 times. So just do 1 row and then push it through and do the 2nd row, take it right up to the edge and then swivel it round, and we'll do the 3rd row. There we go, that's super. And that is the stitching done. That is the house made. That's on the floor. Let's take that out of the machine. I need that tomorrow. Don't let me forget to take that tomorrow. Put that somewhere safe. There we go. So so there's the house there. And in actual fact you can interrupt. Has it interrupted again? Yes, it has. Hopefully. We got lots of people rejoining. So I wonder what happened there then. Are we still having problems with the internet, guys? Let's have a look. You're not the only one having problems. This is from Christine, and I just got my iPad to allow me to see and comment. Gosh, it's an absolute nightmare most of the time, isn't it? Now, I don't know why you're all rejoined again. Did I go off air for a bit? Because I didn't see here if I'd gone off air. So, it's just a nightmare, isn't it, today? We've had some real problems with our technology over the last few days. I don't know about you. We didn't get emails today. We didn't... my poor John, he lost all of his data. That's disappeared somewhere. We had a right old time. So look, there's my little dinky housemaid. Housemaid? No, something completely different. It comes and goes, Tricia. Oh, I am sorry. I'm going to have to do a proper video, aren't I, for this, so we can see it properly. I think that'd be the best idea. But that is the little housemaid, okay? So when you start looking at all of them, I'll bring my tree in, because that'll be easier. If I take them all off my tree, I've really enjoyed having these hanging. And I know I've made these out of cotton. Whoop, let's put that down there. But I want you to see the differences. So if I sort of go to here, so I'll show you the differences, because they've got different stitching on them. The windows are slightly different. The chimneys are slightly different as well. Some have got curves, some have got like zigzags, some have got like these curvy bits here. I think that's the one I used for the instructions, wasn't it? This one is similar to the one we've just done, where the chimney pot has the brickwork and the cross windows, and that's very similar to what I just did. Similar again with the rows of stitching on the chimney pot up here. And then I've made the door a little bit special. You'll find when you're doing your free motion, when you get relaxed with it, you'll want to do all sorts of different things, and that's the one we've just made. So that's the one we've just put together there with the chimney pot with the brickwork on. Oops, let me hold it so you can see it, with the brickwork effect, and then the crosshatch on the windows and what have you. And if you're an embroiderer, you could do some embroidery and French knots and things like that, and you can just about see the gold stitching on the door. I mean, it's not, because it's tweed, it's kind of melts into it. It's better in real life, I'm sure. So really then all I want to do now is to quickly whiz you through. Let's put our houses over here. I want this to take to school tomorrow. To quickly show you how I achieved the wreath. I'm just going to move my my iPad back a little bit. So I've got some like some Hessian ribbon. Now everything I got from Amazon. So if any of you want the links, I'll put the links later on the Facebook Live. But if you've already got things in stock already, you don't need to buy any more. So this is a massive amount, floristry, and it's probably it's 9 meters, so it's a ton. So all you're going to do, in actual fact, we need to take a piece off. If the first time I did it, the first one I made, I used about 2.5 meters. So you're literally just pulling this through, and just make sure we don't get too much in a muddle. And because this is wired, it means that you can join pieces together really easily. So just wrap this around, and it'll take you a little while, and you can spread your wrappings out so you don't have to have them so close to each other, because that's more cost effective. And just keep going. You might want to do shorter lengths. See how you get on. And this is just covering up the wiring, really. I mean, you could use anything. You could cut up the fabric that you use to make the houses with and use that. And because by the time you pop some bits and bobs on here, you're not going to see this very much at all. But it'll stop you seeing the wires, which are a bit ugly, let's face it. So here we go, just going all the way around. I'm sorry about the connection tonight. When we came home in the motorhome at lunchtime, there was some telephone engineers, well, they weren't BT, because I'm ex-BT, so I should know. They were contractors putting in the new fibre, connecting it all up. So, fingers crossed. But I think what I'll do is I'll get my John on the case, and we'll do a proper video. And I'll undo all of this. I might hot glue it, but I might undo all the hot glue. So there we are. That wasn't a bad guess, was it? So that's all right. And because it's wired, do you see that actually, I've literally just bent that over, and that's going to stay in place. And to be honest, that could be the front, because we could put the bow on the front to cover it up. So that's your wreath covered. You've then got to make a bow, and I'm going to bring my hot glue in. And with a bow, all you're going to do is cut up. Now this is wired again, but it doesn't have to be. So we just cut one piece off, and we're just literally going to make a circle, and we're going to hot glue that together. So I'm going to just put a little bit of glue. I can't see if this is on the front or the back. Just a little bit of glue, and I'm putting the raw edge to the middle. So again, another little bit of glue. If you haven't got hot glue, then just use textile glue. Okay, that's one bit. And then when it's stopped being hot, it's not too bad, we're going to just scrunch it. Okay, so I've just scrunched it in the middle. It won't stay there. I mean, it might a little bit. So that's our middle bit. Oh yeah, don't touch it, right? And then I'll do another one, a little bit bigger. So I haven't got a, I'm not, actually, is that about the same? Yes. Do another one. That's it. I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing, if you like. So again, I'm just going to pop the end into the middle. So I'm literally popping that end in there. And there we go. And then I'm just bringing the other end up, and I'm just going to overlap it a little bit, like that. And just bring it in, overlap it. There we go. And again, just squidge it together. It's not going to stay, but what it's doing is allowing you to manipulate it and create a bow, and you're going to pinch it in the middle. And then what you're going to do is hot glue the two pieces together. So find the centre as best you can, a bit of hot glue, mind your fingers, and just pop that into the centre. Now it says my machine's on low battery. Oh, it's all happening. So look, once that's stopped being so hot, you can then get your fingers in there, press it together, manipulate your bows, get it so it looks gorgeous, okay? But then of course you need to have the tails and everything. So again, cut off a longer piece and just wrap one round the front and take that one round like that and just bend it back on itself. So you kind of wrapped it round. So you've wrapped one round, you've wrapped the other one around, and you just bent it at the back. And to be honest, once it's scrunched up, because it's got wire, once it's scrunched up, it'll look fabulous. Okay, so I'm just going to hot glue that in the middle there, just to hold it. In fact, it probably doesn't need it, but I'll put it on the back here, and here, and there. And like I say, be very careful with this glue because it is so super hot. I'm kind of used to it. I used to do an awful lot of decorating of baskets and things like that where we used hot glue all the time. So my fingers have got used to it over the years. I don't suppose for a minute I've got a fingerprint. So there we are. So all I'm going to do now, you always get strings with glue, is I'm just going to hot glue it onto my wreath. So I'm just going to pop some glue on it like that. You don't need a lot, and that just sits on there. So that's your starting off point. Okay, the tails will probably need a V in, you know what I'm saying, a nice shape. So that's the bow done. So make it big, make it glamorous, make sure you hold it in place. And then you want to put a little bit of foliage in there. So again, I've got some faux sprigs of holly, not holly, like conifer, with pine cones and what look like holly berries. So I'm just going to put a few of those dotted around. Again, I'm going to use my hot glue. And don't get too worried about where these are going to be. Just randomly place them down. Put plenty of glue on there so they hold, and then there'll be a real focal point on your, they'll stick out, so it'll be a really lovely focal point on your piece. And on the one I made, we got the fairy lights as well, which really help. So just get these down, and they can go, so they can, and I know you can't see this, so I'm going to pick it up in a second. So some can come out of the wreath, some can come in. just like I say, just dot them around. So let me just hold that up. Now the glue's set. So literally, can you see, they're just dotted around. Really not much to them at all. So once we've done that, and 4 would probably be enough. You could put, oh, there's my forceps, I found them now. Oh, the screen is frozen again. We'll have to watch later. It's possible that it's my screen. Lots of growing going on. But yeah, so it's very difficult, isn't it, if we got this technology. But anyway, so look, now all you're going to do, now the next thing is the lights. So I've got this big bag of lights here. Now, let me just undo them. It comes with a battery pack. That's what you need. You don't need anything that you're going to connect to electricity, because this might be you might be hanging this somewhere that having electric is just not appropriate. So again, you just want to make sure that it's kind of mobile, because you know, I could have this up in the motorhome. I could have it hanging on my kitchen door, then I could move it somewhere else, and I'm not relying on electric. Okay, so which is great. If I only could get it undone. I should have done this beforehand. Let's have a look. So hopefully you've got the gist of what we've done tonight, and it gives you some inspiration of going ahead and making some of these. There we are, we've got it now. So with these are like stars, and because of that they really catch when you're winding them around. So what I suggest you do is to find the middle, to pinch the middle together and get the 2 lengths, and then wind it round your wreath. You might find that a lot easier. I don't know how we're going to get on, but we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. So I'm just going to take this around. And again, I'm threading it through all the time. I'm going to try and keep that bunch working together. I don't know how successful this will be, but we'll give it a go. If that doesn't succeed, I've got the one that I made earlier that I can show you. But because the stars grab each other, it doesn't make it easy to actually wind them around. And if they become really loose, then leave them being loose, because then you'll see more stars, and they're really, really pretty. I really like these. And again, I'll give you the link if you want, so you can see exactly what I got. And keep, like I say, keep them all together. You'll find that they will bunch up, but you can just unhook them a little bit. Keep going, keep going. And then if you get to the end of your wreath, then you can just come back on yourself. Let's see. Hopefully. They're starting to bunch up now. Here we go. I think that's okay. So again, just bring them around, thread them through. And like I say, even if we've now got 2 or 3 strings working together, that's fine. It's going to happen. It's just what they call it, sod's law. And you're literally just going to keep threading them through. So don't worry about that battery pack at the moment, because that is going to, I'm going to show you what I did with the other one. I think I'm going to bring this in because these are all getting tangled. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. And when you come up to the top, oh, just lost a star. When you come up to the top, just come around. In fact, that will probably do fine. I'm a lot of stars in one area there. Ah, that's it. We got it. We got it. We got it. So look, not a bad attempt. Let's just fold that star under there. There we go. So look, all I've done is very crudely wrap them around. You can have some draping over. And if you can get the stars to show, not have too many at the back, then that's perfect. What you can do then is hot glue the back of your battery pack onto the back of the wreath, just making sure that the opening for the batteries, you can get to it, in other words. So you're going to hot glue the back to here, which is perfect. So I can do that now. I don't think my glue gun is switched off. So let's see. And then we'll put some batteries in just to see if it works. So just make sure you've... And like I said, don't be afraid, because if you change your mind, you can always just pull this off. It'll all come away. Just make sure you don't put the hot glue anywhere near the wires, because it's really hot. So then all you're going to do while that's settling, just going to pull that out and put the batteries in. See how we get on. I haven't tried it yet. See, it was one of my parcels when I got home today. So we'll see if it works. Oh yeah. Oh, it's flashing. I didn't really want flashing, but here we go. Is that it? I think you can change it. I think you can change it to not flash. Let's try and get that on there. There we go. Oh my goodness. It never ceases to amaze me how many things can go wrong. Right, so that's off. That's stationary. Oh, phew. So I don't know if you can pick that up. I don't know if you can see that. But the lights are actually on. So let me show you. Don't know if you can pick that up. But the lights are actually on, which is great. Like I say, you'd be able to readjust all of that and make sure that everything is equal all the way around. And then the next thing to do is to put the houses on. Now, when I put the houses on, I actually use pins because I didn't want to permanently put them on there. So all you're going to do is kind of arrange these with pins. You could use safety pins if you want to, and start popping them around the wreath like that. And if you look at the picture that I put on the Facebook page, you'll be able to see where I positioned them. So that's it really. I mean, we've practically finished. Well, we have finished. I don't know if I'm still live or not. I'm hoping I am. The stars need readjusting on this. I think the stars need readjusting anyway. But hopefully you'll be able to get the gist. And when I get a minute tomorrow, I'll get that all finished for you so you can have a look see. And it looks slightly different because we've got the like the fir cones here and the pine leaves and everything, and like sort of holly berries, or perhaps I don't know what they are, but they're quite pretty. So that's that really, ladies and gents. So thank you so much for watching. I've totally lost my internet connection, so I have no idea if I'm live or not. I'm rather hoping I am. I'm sorry it's been a long old one again, because we had a few problems, didn't we, to start off with. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've taken something away from this and you've enjoyed the stitching, if nothing else. And I hope Diana hasn't been thrown out of the library. Let's live in hope. And you've chatted amongst yourselves and you've had a good time. I think you've all been commenting on here, and I'd love to see the comments, but I can't see the comments. I don't know why, but there we are. It's all a bit tricky. But it's been an absolute joy as usual to be part of your evening, and it's been so good to have a chat. And we will have another one next week. Next week is not such a busy week for me, so I think it will be next Thursday, and we'll make one of the other two patterns. I've still got that fourth one to put on there, which I will do next week because, like I said, I've got plenty of time. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a go at making this. That they are super, super cute. I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I say, making the tweed one has been quite a different experience as well. I really like it, really like it. So, and of course, see, they'll fluff up and they'll get all sort of raggedy around the edges, which is what it's, for me, that really helps. That really helps. So there we are. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope to speak to you soon. Might do another little Facebook Live over the weekend, shall we? Do a little treat. Okay. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.